On today's episode of the Fit to Lead podcast, I'm excited to bring you Jason Akel, who is a certified master hypnotherapist, and he's a member of the prestigious association, the American Council of Hypnotist Examiners. In his practice, Jason helps his clients resolve anxieties and panic attacks, as well as fears, trauma, and bad habits to help boost confidence, trust in self, and build resilience. He regularly addresses food issues, body image, fitness, sleep, and weight loss. In fact, Jason and I just launched an exciting new program together that we'll talk about today, where we marry his expertise and techniques alongside of mine. Jason's also a fitness enthusiast and gets his sweat on through 80-mile backpacking trips, hundreds of pool laps each week, long days on the ski slopes, and fierce volleyball games. Raised in New Jersey, Jason now lives with his wife and two teenagers in the San Francisco East Bay area. So definitely tune in to this great conversation with Jason. So I am thrilled to have Jason Akel with me today on the Fit to Lead podcast. Jason, thanks so much for joining me.
Hi, Allison.
Hi. So one of the reasons I'm super excited is because we recently reacquainted ourselves because we worked together back in the day at a little company called cheaptickets.com. But we've kind of rekindled our friendship and launched a new partnership that I'm very excited to share with people. But before we dig into that, I want to talk about what you do. And you are a master hypnotherapist. And I want to find out, because obviously you've come a long way since cheaptickets.com. I had a long journey and I want to hear, how did you get into that? How did you get into hypnotherapy? Because I find it fascinating.
Well, it is very roundabout. But before I get into that story, I do want to say I agree with you that our partnership, I have to say, I think is a stroke of genius. But we'll tell more about that later. Quite a revelation on our parts. Anyhow, so I began in hypnosis, back in college. Like many people, I saw a stage hypnotist show. And I wasn't on stage. I was just fascinated by the folks dancing and acting like chickens and all that kind of stuff on stage. And I went into our university library at Northwestern, and I found this slimmest of books that was written by the earliest masters as they tried to figure out how can hypnosis be used to help people with mental health or mental illness. And so I took that, I checked it out. I took that slim book back into the dorms and I scanned through these scripts, which were so clinical and not really appropriate for the context. But I said to my friends, who would like to be hypnotized? And so many hands went up. So sometimes in groups and sometimes one by one, I took people on adventures in hypnosis. So I had people lying on a bed and they would, one guy I remember, he would leap up on the bed and be doing slalom skiing and then moguls. And I had to pull him down to calm down, relax. Go down easy now, buddy. So I took people on all these adventures and I realized as I did hypnosis and coaching over the years and through the time that we knew each other, but didn't know I was doing this on the side, that I loved it deeply, helping people to resolve issues that are below the surface. You do an amazing job with helping people with the structure of weight loss and fitness. But very often, as you know, that there's a lot often going on, emotional and stress and other things going on that keeps them from showing up in the first place for you or going the distance. Mm-hmm. And I discovered both from weight loss and bad habits, trauma, anxiety, all these things are hypnotherapy is so powerful that I decided a few years ago to commit to it full time. And it is incredibly rewarding.
I love that. I love it. And so what are some things, I agree with you 100%, like mindset is critical to folks that want to lose weight or want to get into shape or take control of their health. What are some things that people should keep in mind if they're considering hypnotherapy?
It gets a bad rap, first of all. Movies and TV, it's so trite these tropes of a swirling image or a swinging pocket watch. Let you in on the secret. You know what? The point of those things is simply to tire your eyes. And when the muscles, these smallest muscles in your body, the eyes, are tired, then we want to close them. And then you want to relax. So there are other ways to do that are more modern and less weird, and not caught in this old imagery that we see on TV. And so really all hypnosis is relaxation. And when we're very relaxed, then I can tap into the subconscious mind, that part of your mind that is the seat of a lot of the automatic functions that we have, like blinking, breathing, flight or fight. But it's also the seat of emotions, especially the long-term emotions, the ones that come from those experiences. And when you're relaxed, and no one really completely understands why this works, scientists still trying to figure it out, is when you're relaxed, we can tap into the old ways, we can let go of that and start focusing on the now and forward, how you want to be now. Why not start now? In typical talk therapy, it's expected that if you just talk it out, that you'll find the solution. But very often that's not the case. It doesn't care for the deeper emotional issues that people have and the history. When you're relaxed, we're able to much more let go and make that decision to move forward. And really just say, why wait any longer? Why do I need to wait for the 20th, 30th session of therapy and talk therapy? But why not start living the way I want to now? And as you start to see the results, whether it be weight loss or habits or anxiety, if you start to see the results today and you acknowledge that, mindful of that, then why can't there be more of it? Why can't you be happier now? And then even happier on top of that. And it becomes exponential very quickly.
I love that. I love that. And I think a key point, which we talked about earlier, which I would love for you to share, is really the differentiation between meditation and hypnotherapy. Because when you said, oh, relax, I'm like, oh, yeah, meditate. But I think what you said was spot on what the difference between the two are.
So people who meditate are fantastic candidates for hypnosis, first of all. Now, you don't have to have done that, but you understand the idea of going into a peaceful place that can be a happy place. But the difference is that meditation tends to be very vague. You're floating in space, or you're in this amorphous environment. What is exceptionally effective, the way at least I do hypnosis, is that in order to activate the imagination, you draw on specifics. So I am not interested in you going down a set of stairs. I want you to know if those stairs are made of wood or metal or stone, or they're carved into a hillside. And I'll let it come alive for you. They're your stairs. The more detail there is, the more you can imagine it like a movie and bring yourself into it. We all have hypnotic experiences all day long, whether we're watching a movie or TV, whether we're reading a book, or we're driving down the freeway and we lose ourselves in some other thoughts and then discover ourselves hundreds of yards down the road and going, oh my God, am I safe? Yes, I'm safe. But we lose ourselves in these flow states, as cliche. So detail helps activate that imagination. And when I can fully and completely activate the imagination for people, then you can dream of your best self, of what's next, what can be. See yourself 6 months from now without that weight on. See yourself going to the gym today, now.
I love it. I love it. So let's, build upon that. I would love to talk about how does it work for someone, that maybe comes to you and their goal is to lose weight or to get fit or to take control of their health. How does that work for them?
Mhm. So let me just kind of put this in perspective. What you're great at is the structure, the food quality, the food quantity, the accountability, the tools that guide the people through the process, both the education and the carry through.
Mhm.
There's I don't know initially often what the reasons are that cause them to have to come to you or come to me. We need to discover which category or categories it is that have been holding them back. What are the blocks? Is it because of high stress in their current day, work, family life, family issues, or extended family? Is it sleep? Is it they're so out of shape and not been caring for themselves that they feel pain and they feel poorly and they don't feel motivated? Is it a poor relationship with food? Just they're not sure how and they want to learn how, or is it an upbringing that affected what they think about food and they're eating at the wrong times and the wrong things? They may know they want to eat better, they want to have the level of fitness, but they don't know how, and they can't figure out what are the emotions behind that. Sometimes there's a root there. They'll have an inkling towards it, but very often it's amorphous there too. So, stress, sleep, fitness, food, body image. If they were spoken poorly to, bullied, sometimes they don't even know where it came from, but they don't think kindly of themselves, and they have lots of negative self-talk. So all of these things together are important to kind of probe to see, often just in conversation initially, to understand where there might be places that we can disarm and rebuild, reprogram, feel good about oneself. So hypnosis isn't just about what many people know, it's just about being optimistic, about being positive about oneself. Yes, of course, but there are often other layers below the surface that we probe. We figure out what is important and unique to that person, clear away those blocks in a very pleasant and relaxed way, and set them up for the good self-talk so that they're actually completely and utterly receptive to everything you're guiding them on.
I love that. I love that. And I think that is why our partnership is a differentiator when it comes to weight loss, because it's like combining that, the mindset, the positive self-talk, the unblocking with the framework is so powerful. So I would love you, this was your brainchild. You actually came to me and said, Allison, I have a great idea. So
Yeah.
I want you to talk about how that came about.
Because I saw your podcasts and I saw that you were saying so many of the same words that I am about things like, don't beat yourself up. Our bodies are meant to move. It's the totality of it all. In your own way, you were saying so many of the same things. Now, those things you're saying are happening on a conscious level, right?
Right.
And people can totally buy into those. And some people are so motivated on their own, maybe they don't have the hangups, and they could just take that and run with it. And that's enough. But a lot of people come to it with more complex situations. Mm-hmm. And that's where I realized I can complement what you're doing. And that for all of them, it will be a ping pong thing where sometimes it's you that's leading and sometimes it's me. If we're unblocking the heavy stuff, the heavy stresses, then they're going to be that receptive person, and then they're going to take off. So it came from me watching you and seeing, well, I would guess there are people that you're working with that need greater help than that, and so they can listen better. So here's the program. We've come up with, as you know, obviously, 2 different permutations or options. One is a 30-day intensive, body and brain intensive. This is where we have a joint 2-hour conversation with the person. We've already collected some kind of basic information ahead of time so that when we step into it, we're already informed, both on the fitness and food side of it, but also on the deeper emotional issues. And so we're stepping into that 2-hour session, and where you're educating, and then I'm vetting those commentary that we've received beforehand, and then I'm giving people their first experience with hypnosis. And it is always, I've never seen it otherwise in the thousands of sessions I've done. I've never seen anyone come out other than saying, wow, that was so pleasant, so enjoyable, and so easy, because it takes nothing. It's nothing. Within minutes, people realize it's just easy. And you get better and better at it over time. And I do all the work. You do none of the work. You just go for a ride in your imagination. So that 30 days is that 2-hour experience. And then it's your check-ins over time, obviously, every week, helping people understand, helping stay accountable. And I am working through I think it's 4 sessions over that month. I'm working through certainly the high level motivation, but at least one primary reason that has held people back from losing and keeping the weight off. Because you and I both are about lifestyle. We're not about that. This is the antithesis of diet. This is everything about the lifestyle, the building the mindset from the subconscious to the conscious. The subconscious is driving you forward, keeping you moving, even on a day after a long day of work when you're not feeling motivated. You do it anyway because you have a bigger goal in mind. And and then at any primary reason, body image or relationship to food, stresses, we'll hit one generally major area. And if there are any other tangential ones, we'll touch on those as well. The other option is I think we call it the get your body and brain in gear option. It's a mouthful. For 4 months. So 120 days of us sticking with you, 2 coaches behind you, 2 for the price of 1, pushing you forward, you and I communicating every couple of days, sharing the successes and the difficulties that the person is having, to making sure we're hitting the right dynamics, that the person doesn't get blocked along the way. And if you uncover something, I'm taking it. We've seen that already. We've seen that. And with 4 months, I have the opportunity to work on certainly more than one deeper seated issue. I can work on certainly the superficial stuff, like eat slowly, give it time for your stomach to communicate with your brain, and all that kind of bread and butter work that I do. But also things like, how did your parents communicate? What was food in your house? What was it like for you? How do we get you past that and get you moving on to how it's going to be now for you? Because those past stories don't have to be your new story. And so we begin rehearsing in hypnosis the new stories. And when people actually live in hypnosis, it becomes real for them. And then they just do it. And it's like, oh my God, the successes are already happening. They've already racked up a success in hypnosis, and then they're doing it that day. And then it just builds on itself. So there's 2 options, 30-day intensive and the 4-month, more comprehensive. Yeah.
I love it. And I think what's most important is we meet people where they're at, right? We don't, it's not like, clean out the fridge, get rid of it. It's like, it's baby steps, it's sustainable, that we build upon. So I love, and it's so much fun co-coaching, like working with you as the hypnotherapist, and me as the nutrition and fitness coach. So much fun. Much more fun than just being by myself. But so I always have to ask my guests the standard questions, which I know some of them threw you for a loop, but I'm going to ask you them anyway.
Yeah, I'm ready.
What's a non-negotiable in your self-care routine?
It happens to me most days. I get to the end of the day after so many sessions with people with a variety of issues. And people think you must be exhausted. How do you do anything at the end of the day? I don't care whether I am utterly spent or motivated. I go get active. It doesn't matter what it is. I go take a hike. I often go to the gym and I swim hard. And last week it was seeing how slow I am compared to Katie Ledecky when she swims. And I've discovered I'm just barely faster than half her speed. So, but the point is, when I jump in and I get that instant chill, I move and I go. And I feel fantastic afterwards. I do not let anything stop me from feeling physically good at the end of the day.
I love it. I love it. That's a great one. And that's a non-negotiable for me too. That's the first thing I do when I get out of bed in the morning is I have to do some kind of, usually it's weight training, but it has to be some kind of exercise or movement.
Cool.
And so as a hypnotherapist, what is a piece of advice for improving your mindset?
Come to me.
Of course.
I said it earlier. Your old stories are not the stories they have to be now. I have worked with people, let's talk outside weight loss, who come to me with traumas that are decades old. In fact, they endured traumas for decades. And they come to me crying the first session, barely able to speak the load that they're carrying, just desperate for help. And it is amazing. Within, let's call it hours, the hope is fully and completely alive. They're starting to shed that old stuff and get to know that I don't deserve to carry that anymore. It's those other people who did these things to me, abuse, for example, the negative talk. Those aren't my voices. They were somebody else's commentary. I can move forward. I'm going to speak to myself in a pleasant way. I'm going to do new things, new experiences, and live my life the way I want to now. So mindset can be changed. Old dogs can be taught new tricks, even you.
I love it. I love it. And what is a book or podcast you can recommend?
I love How I Built This by Guy Raz.
Oh.
I mean, I'm in the business of motivation, right? But he brings on folks who have achieved something big, and usually as an underdog or as by happenstance. And it's always inspiring to see these people. The one I listened to recently, I think it was from this podcast, it was about a woman, Stacy, who created Stacy's pita chips. Oh. And how she endured so many things and just stuck to it. And people say, that was luck. Yeah, she says maybe there was along the way a blip or here or there that was luck. But she showed up, she made things happen, and she stuck to something that she cared about. And that's a lot of the coaching that I do.
I love it. And I do love her pita chips.
You get them at Trader Joe's or Whole Foods?
Fun fact.
I don't know. Yeah.
Fun fact. Yeah. And so what is your favorite life hack?
Well, for myself, I decided long ago that I believe that I can fix anything. I don't mean just people's minds. I mean literally around the house. I just dig into YouTube, look for those manuals. I wander the aisles of Home Depot or whatever. And trust me, I usually don't know going in. And I just keep going at it, keep going, fiddling, and I'll spend the extra buck to discover how to fix something that I thought I couldn't do. So just keeping at it, finding ways, there's always a way.
And it's very rewarding when you do solve the puzzle or figure out why or how it wasn't working. Exactly. That's like so rewarding. So I love that. That's a great one.
And it makes you go for and try again next time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Awesome. So Jason, I want to wrap up by saying that I loved our conversation, but of course I love working with you. So I knew I'd love having you on the podcast. And I usually say, well, where can people learn more about you? But I am going to include a link to our partnership page so people can learn all about all the goodness they get by working together with us and the pricing and the time frame and all the good stuff. But anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
No, I think I agree. We both love helping people, and it is a stroke of genius. We should have thought of it years ago, but we're here now. So if anybody, is needs more than a little guidance and would have some other stuff going on, yeah, we can help.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Jason.
Thanks, Allison.
If you enjoyed this episode and you're interested in learning more about what it would be like to work with a hypnotherapist combined with a fitness and nutrition coach, be sure to visit my website, www.allisonjacksonfitness.com, to learn all about the program that Jason and I have put together. We've had great success with our clients so far, and we look forward to working with you as well.